The issue of global warming and climate change and how to deal with it hasn't gotten very much play in this election. But in the aftermath of Sandy, that could change. It's one of the issues raised in the cover of the New Time magazine, Lessons from the Storm, on sale in this part of the country, while the rest of the country will see a pre-election issue. And joining me now from New York is Times managing editor Richard Stengel. Richard, great to see you.
Nice to see you.
You've got two covers, and those of us living in this part of the country and thinking about the coast and seeing all of the devastation really want to know more about climate change, about these coastal communities, the kinds of issues that Governor Cuomo in New York raised and that we have not heard anything of from either of these candidates in any of the debates.
Yes, I mean, Governor Cuomo was quite eloquent about it. He talked about this idea that we are having 100-year events every couple of years these days, and it's you can't have an absolute cause and effect between climate change and these events, but there are certain man-made aspects of all of this, which is that we're building in places we shouldn't be building. Our infrastructure is old. Our transportation infrastructure is from the last century. And we are not accommodating ourselves to the new reality, the idea that these kinds of events may happen more frequently. I mean, if you look at the infrastructure in places like the Netherlands, you know, they've been spending 50 years preparing for events like this, and we haven't been. I mean, we're very much more exposed, and the fact that it hasn't been talked about in the election, that nobody's talking about infrastructure except folks like Governor Cuomo, is a problem.
Richard, when I was looking at the coverage the other night, the night of the storm, and we had our correspondents from NBC and from the Weather Channel standing there in Battery Park City, that seawall was practically non-existent. I mean, the water came up to 13 feet and easily breached. We saw the subways flooded. We have not done the infrastructure repairs. We all want to have the option of living along the Jersey Shore, and I don't know what the answer
Right.
there is for the beautiful vistas of living so close to the ocean. But you know, how do you approach this with an old city like New York?
I think there has to be I mean, some of the candidates have talked about it over the course of the year, and there are governors who have talked about an infrastructure bank. But again, if you look at Manhattan, I mean, Manhattan may seem like a 21st century city to us. I mean, in fact, it's an 18th and 19th century city. There's so much landfill downtown. There aren't berms or barriers downtown. The subway is about 100 years old. It was a miracle 100 years ago. It now is, you know, an antique. And the problem is that there isn't any kind of overwhelming desire on the part of public officials, states, voters to actually finance this kind of thing, because it will take billions and billions and billions of dollars and decades.
Well, you're at least talking about it. You're raising it with your cover story. And I should point out that the political articles here, the debate between E.J. Dionne and Rick Lowry on, you know, the two campaigns, and the piece that Joel Stein wrote about Gary Johnson and how his libertarian run could actually change the Nevada and Colorado results. Must reading. So this is a really great issue of Time magazine.
Thank you.
Richard Stengel, thanks so much for joining us.